Welcome to Comic Book Wednesdays, a weekly show where we talk about comic books. I'm Ian.
I'm Al, still.
I'm seriously confused.
You should be! I did that on purpose to see if you were paying attention.
Clearly you are not.
I was really hoping one of you was going to say my name since I was doing the intro.
I'm
Damn
Shane.
it. There we go, thank you. But yeah, we're doing our part 2 to Soul of the Dragon. What did you guys think?
I'm really enjoying it.
I like this more than the first part so far. And I love the first part. Sorry, Al. Go ahead.
No, yeah, definitely. I agree.
There's definitely a lot more action in this one, which I thought was really cool.
I enjoyed how we got a little bit of going through Tommy's ranger suits, and like seeing the different characters, because I've missed all of that through the last 30 years of Power Rangers.
Hey, that's fair. Did that explanation I gave last time that help clear things up?
Yeah, definitely. So it was
Okay.
good. I'm enjoying it. I think it's really good.
Question for you, Shane. So we
Sure.
saw Dino Thunder and Zeo, right?
The red one was Turbo.
Turbo. Okay.
Yes.
So we saw Turbo and Dino Thunder.
Mhm.
What other Ranger forms does he have? Of course, other than the White Ranger and the Green Ranger.
So actually, there is just one left, and that's Zeo. So in terms of like order of power, it was Green Ranger, White Ranger. Turbo happened after that. Zeo happened after that, and then once the Zeo powers were gone, you had Turbo, which everybody kind of agrees was like kind of a joke season because the Japanese footage they based it on was very. It was meant to be a comedy show, but the American side of it took it and was like, no, we can make this serious. It didn't work very well at all. I mean, that's what happens when you take the Japanese footage and you're like, yeah, we'll just dub this over. It'll be fine.
But that's pretty much every season of Power Rangers, though. But like, right?
Yeah, there's been a couple seasons. If I might be wrong, but there has been a couple that I'm aware of where the majority of it was the American side of it. I think there was a few in the initial that like where they didn't have the footage for, because like with Tommy being the White Ranger, that was a completely different Japanese cartoon, like a different Japanese show with those sets of Rangers. The White Ranger was never supposed to be in Mighty Morphin. That was a completely American thing.
Interesting.
Right. Well, didn't the character die in the Japanese? The one who played the Green Ranger, he like died in that show or something.
Yeah, he did. It was one of the like big ones because he was like the brother to the Red Ranger or whatever,
Yeah.
and he straight up died in one of the episodes.
Wow.
Kid show.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so, well, it was. I don't know if it was a kid show in Japan. It might have been. Well, back to our comic. I love it. One, the art itself is just fantastic. I could just look at the pages all day. I think the artist does a really good job capturing Tommy's emotions, which can't be said for every comic book I've ever read. So happy to see that.
Oh, definitely. One of the things that I used for the Instagram post, and one of the things that I really liked was the art of Tommy in that black suit just fighting all of those different creatures in that bar.
Absolutely, that was such a cool scene.
Which I'm
It
not
kind
gonna
of
lie,
sucks
part
that he's
before-
burning through his morphing discs or coins or whatever they're called.
Yeah, that was really interesting, like to me, because I didn't know like what the reason was. initially, and so when they were just like, yeah, no, he's just had them forever. It's like, well, that makes sense.
They never learn.
We got the moves, we got the talent. And
So,
damn
like,
it, we
before
look
this
good.
comic, was burning through the coins something that happened? Or is
N-
this...
No, this was a complete comic thing. Like, I knew that you could do like you like gift your powers to other people. You can like pass them on and things like that. Absolutely. Tommy was one of the only ones, like aside from a couple, like, there's a couple of other people that kept him, but Tommy was the only one that was given this ability to like cycle through his old powers, and it was never really explained why. At least it hasn't yet for me. I'm hoping, in the issues that I read with Boom that I mean, they're the ones that did this, so I'm sure they'll eventually get to why he has that. Um, but yeah, that was a complete comic creation. And then the show, funny enough, there was like some anniversary special, and then the show was just like, yeah, we're gonna take this and make it a thing.
Oh, that's fun. I mean, like, in the comic that we read, it did mention, like, he has a morpher that can cycle through it, so, like, the tech allows him to do that. But they don't really explain where he gets the tech from.
No, I was kind of hoping that you guys caught that because when they mention Cranston or Feyweather, Cranston, the referencing Billy, the Blue Ranger, yeah. And so even the character is like, okay, did he build this? Like, who built this thing?
I feel like if there's anybody who would do it, it would be him.
Did they
No.
explain why his morpher was broken?
Not yet. I don't know if the comic like fully touches on it, so I don't want to give like any spoilers because it might go into a small explanation. But as far as I know at this moment, it's just because he's had it for such a long time, and at one point he like damaged it.
Gotcha.
Kill Nightwing.
Is that chick gonna fix it?
Don't
I
spoil
don't
the book.
remember.
Don't spoil the book. Don't spoil the book. I'm
That is a
gonna-
great question, and I have no idea.
I love how you answered that. No, and by chick, Alice referring to Tommy's son's friend,
Yeah, that
Um,
chick.
alien friend. But we haven't even gotten the meat and potatoes. Like, Tommy's son, is he evil? He's helping like people like distribute powers. Has he been turned, or like what's the deal?
Nah, I think it's the same thing as when he was a young ranger.
What do you mean?
Under Rita's control.
Under Rita's.
Well, he does make the line in there where he's just
Yeah.
like, when I was under somebody's control, I had no like recollection of what I was doing, but he hesitated. So like, do you think he's under somebody's control, or do you think he's like, doing something different?
I don't know.
It's tough. It can go either way, I think, at this point. But I'm leaning towards his son's just under a different path, you know. But I kind of want that just because it'd be interesting to see how Tommy would deal with the fact that his son actually isn't under somebody's control, you know.
Yeah.
Well, they make a really good point in there where they're talking about how, while he was at SPD, while he was like training to be a police officer, or even like a police Power Ranger, whatever he ended up training for, he was always in Tommy's shadow. And meanwhile, Tommy's like, well, no, he's my son, it's fine. And he's like, well, and his friend was like, well, no, he's got to live up to your legacy, even if you don't think he has to. Like, he has this burden on himself where he like wants to make you proud. He wants to live up to your legacy.
Right. And it's kind of something you see with a lot of like legacy stories when it comes to heroes and books and stuff. Like
We pulled that
the
off
father
in style
figure, or
and span.
the parental figure, I should say, has this legacy, and the child struggles living up to it. It's funny enough. I have a weird example that I think fits in, but not exactly.
Yeah.
It's like in Legend of Korra. She had to basically measure up to what Aang
Mm.
did. Not really a parental figure. In fact, it's physically impossible for her to meet Aang because she is the reincarnation of him. But still has that like I'm always trying to achieve that level that Aang has achieved. Not only with the characters in the show, but with the fan base too.
No, you make a really good point because they even kind of just a side tangent with that a little bit. They even kind of address that in the show because Aang's kids even say the same thing because they felt that too, where they had to live up to his legacy. And his one son, Boomy,
Yeah,
before he could before everything happened, he was like, "Yeah, I can't even bend."
right. Exactly. You couldn't even
So
like.
yeah, I imagine that's the same thing. Like you have this all-time famous Power Ranger who retired and very rarely in his case survived being a Power Ranger and then had a family and is just trying to live a normal life. Meanwhile, his son is just, yeah, my dad's a Power Ranger. You can't exactly go home and be like, yeah, Dad, I have a 9 to 5 job and, everything's just relaxed.
Yeah. And I'm not exactly sure how the SPD police force is, but don't they have Power Rangers on the force too?
They do. So SPD as a police force as a whole, it's regular police that you would see every day patrolling the streets, and then you have different squads of rangers. I think there's A squad and B squad, where one of them, will stay on Earth and due to like more advanced crimes and more advanced weapons and things like that, will use ranger abilities to help with that. And then you have another squad that will do basically like planetary detective work, and they'll go from place to place investigating crimes, but they're also a squad of Power Rangers.
Hmm.
That's fascinating.
Good
I
night.
like that.
This is it.
So I mean, potentially there's space for his son to become a ranger on SPD if he really wanted to.
Belfry, I need to get this somewhere
Yeah,
fast.
no, potentially there would be, which makes me really interested because like as we were reading this section, it all started off with them. It sounded like Sky was really wanting him to do it because he was like, yeah, we were just trying to give him space, like,
Right.
but also, do we trust Sky and to tell the truth is the better question there.
This is true. We don't know through her through a hole in the head. She might not be a reliable source of information. Which, honestly, I always fall for when it comes time to like books and stuff. Like, I just trust every character that their author portrays as good right away. So I'm like, no, they're a good person. And then like as I get through the story, I'm like, what the?
Ian, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to remember that.
Okay, because it always happens.
Oh, I'm going to use that. Thank you.
I'm a very trusting person. You can take advantage of your friends' trust.
Al, what do you think so far about Sky? What's your vibage?
Um, see, I don't know, cause like I feel like he did want the best for JJ,
Hmm.
but yeah, we haven't got enough of the character to really be able to form a good opinion of how good this guy is.
Hmm.
Like he definitely is hiding shit. There's no way that the police force didn't know that one of their people went missing for 3 days.
That's a good point. This could all just be like a grand, scheme because if they're selling powers, I mean, he went to Finster, which, from the old TV show, that they even said in there that the person selling the powers calls themselves the Witch. So, like, could this be the old villain?
Could it be Rita? I think that's what do they call that? Where they're trying to like just distract you.
Like a red herring.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
See, I wasn't sure if it was a red herring or if it was somebody trying to like copy her, like a copycat who idolized her in some sort of way.
Well, it could be a red herring as far as the writer is concerned, but a copycat as far as the story is concerned. So, like, the writer is trying to get you to think, oh, Rita's in this book, but really, as far as, like, he's writing a copycat.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Also a good point.
Yeah, it definitely it pulls me in nicely because, watching the old show and then reading this, you feel like it's I feel like it's kind of trying to pick up basically where some things have left off. Which, as I said last time, I enjoy seeing those like humanistic perspectives. And all of the panels where, especially in the bar scene, which is one of the funniest ones for me, where JJ's friend was like, "Hey, Mr. Oliver, you can't, be just going in there and talking to people. You don't know what you're doing." And he's like, "Yeah, but it's my son. I'll be fine." He was not fine.
I would argue that he was perfectly fine.
Yeah, he was kind of fine.
With that said, he uses the Dino Thunder power there. I would say so far between Turbo and Dino Thunder, I like the black Dino Thunder Ranger suit better. I think it's cooler looking. That's just my opinion, though.
Between the two, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I like the Dino Thunder look a lot more than Turbo, just because I feel like it's more. I don't know. There are a lot of Red Rangers. I like the other colors. I just think they can be more unique.
Yeah. What's his Zeo color?
Red as well.
Okay, so he's been Red Ranger twice.
Do we see his Green Ranger suit yet?
Not in this book. Well, in a flashback.
Yeah.
We saw it. He hasn't used it.
Yeah, when they were talking about his.
Yeah.
Batgirl recognized.
Again, technically, I guess, Shane, the only suit we haven't seen is the Zeo suit. In the comic, at least, because with the flashback, had both green and white, and then his black suit and his red suit, which I haven't seen.
Oh, that's a good point. You're right. Yeah.
Location of cache added to AR device.
Al, what do you think is like? What are you leaning towards as your favorite between the two so far?
I like that red suit. I don't know the names of them like you guys do, but I enjoyed the red suit. I thought it was pretty cool, and I actually had that action figure when I was a kid.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So that's why it's kind of a nostalgia thing, I guess, for me. Why I like that suit, but I thought it was cool.
So I imagine seeing Finster, like Rita's old like putty maker, was probably pretty cool for you.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it.
It was cool. So like I was like, oh shit, he's good, and then they were like the Zordon wave or whatever it was called, and I was like, what's that?
Yeah.
All right, that's my fault. I did not know if they were. I haven't read this book in a little bit, so I forgot that they mentioned that. In one of the seasons, it was basically Zordon was kidnapped, and the whole entire purpose of the season was to try and get him back. And so at the end of it, Zordon was like, "Hey, if it's a choice between me being kidnapped and eventually saving some people's lives, versus going back and like us having to do these battles all over again, like I'd rather try and save some lives." And he actually gives one of the Rangers a choice and is like, "Hey, you can destroy my tube and kill me, and that'll end this huge fight. Like you'll save your family," because it was literally this Ranger's sister was being brainwashed, and he was like, okay, you can kill me, and all of this fighting will stop. And this, he basically told him, like, just do it. I'll sacrifice myself for the greater good. And so when they destroyed the tube, there was enough energy in Zordon's, like, tube thing that everybody in the vicinity was hit with this overwhelming wave of just positive energy, basically. It's kind of cheesy in the show, but the way they explained it was anybody who had been brainwashed, anybody who had been like taken over by like some of these dark forces or like influenced by them, immediately lost that connection and lost that control, so that they gained their free will again.
I like how they do mention that, Rita just made the same choices again, or could have been making the same choices again, and led her life to the same route as it was.
Right, very possible.
I like that as well, because it's very much like a free will kind of thing. Like, you can give one person all the opportunity in the world, like as we've seen with Marvel and superheroes, and even Batman with Gotham. You can rescue the villain over and over and over again, but it's up to them to choose a different path if they want to.
Very, very, very true.
I did find it kind of funny that he was just like, yeah, I don't do magic anymore. I just do art.
I'm an artiste.
I'm an artiste. But was there any other panels or bits that you guys found interesting?
Honestly, it's all interesting.
Yeah, it's all really good.
As far as like specifically, it's very hard not to continue again. I can't wait to read more. And I really want to just dive into like the whole like Mighty Morphin series that is on here, because we have access to like every single volume, which is like crazy.
No, that's pretty cool.
But, like,
I didn't realize we did. I thought it was like a couple samples. That's awesome.
I'll look at it after we're done recording and we can go over it. But like honestly, like
sure.
I get it, Jason.
I'd read the hell out of this. Like I would love to do it with you guys. So I'm holding back until we like decide to do it as a group. So.
Yeah, same. Boom's writing is just so incredibly smooth. I really, really enjoy that in their art. It just, you feel like you're watching a movie, and by the time you close the page and you're at the end, you're like, well, where's the rest of it?
Right, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I guess my final thoughts is, again, this is scratching that itch. It's the Power Rangers that like I always thought was cool when I was a kid, but it has a more adult spin on it. So it has an enjoyable story with the characters that I love. So like,
I agree with that 100% because like I tried to get my kids into watching it because it was a nostalgia thing, and I'm sitting there watching and I'm like, God, this is fucking awful. But reading the book, I'm like, this is really kind of fucking cool.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like if I was like watching the beginning of Power Rangers, like the old Mighty Morphin stuff, and like I'm like the theme song, and I'm like headbanging, I'm having a good time, and then like the show starts, and I'm like, oh my god.
Ha! Hoo! Yeah! It's like, all right, you don't have to make a noise every time you swing.
But like honestly, like the lore behind Power Rangers, like just the bones of it, the soul, the backbone of Power Rangers. I think it's fascinating. You know, like it's just I need just some more of that not adult content. You know, like I'm not looking for rated R, but like I just want something written in a way that like can appease my mind.
There you are.
Are the other comics, more adult like this, or is it just,
More adult.
Yeah, from
that's
my
cool.
understanding, it's the same kind of tone.
I have read all of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series, all of the Go-Go Power Rangers series. I'm on some of their like newer ones right now. And this kind of momentum, adult type theme that you're seeing here doesn't stop.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like Boom has done a phenomenal job at keeping that up, and I didn't think it was possible because I had that same experience you did, where I have the song on my phone, I'll play it occasionally while I'm driving, just to, because it feels good, and then you go to watch it and you're like, oh, why did I watch this?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really corny. Like,
But as a kid, it was fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, completely awesome.
oh, absolutely. Well, we don't have a lot left in this book. Do you guys want to do another 30, or do you just want to like finish the book next week?
How much would be left if we did another 30?
I think the way that I mathed it out, it would be, I think, 31 or 32 pages. Because the ending pages after, like, you hit that 31, 32 mark is just, like, the variation of, like, the art covers and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm good to just finish it if you guys are.
Yeah. It's not like it's a hard read. It's not like Watchmen where it was like exhausting to read at times.
Right.
And then next week, since we're finishing it, Al, if you want to prepare your pick for us.
Well, I think we're gonna move on to the Thrawn trilogy and, go from there.
Yeah, buddy. Okay, so finish up Power Rangers next week, and then we'll get into some Star Wars goodness.
Stay down.
Can't wait.
Unless we wanted to read that 4-page or 4-book
Gambit.
Gambit thing.
Well, that would only be like a week because it's only 4
Yeah.
comics. But if you wanted to do that, we could do that and then do Thrawn. I would not be opposed to that. Shane, how do you?
Yeah, let's do them all. Fine by me.
All right. Because I just checked the app and they are on there, and I could read my hard copies because I'd like to pull them out and read them again.
Something about physical media, just having it in your hands, man.
Yeah, it's fucking nice.
It's
I
good
feel
thing.
that.
That's why when I was reading Batman, I was reading my physical books. So
Yeah.
Well, all right. Since we got all that, Ian, do you want to close us out?
yeah, I can close this out. Well, again, thanks everybody for listening. If you're enjoying, please interact with us. Listen live with Shane, or come and like, comment on our stuff on YouTube. But
Yeah, give
we
us some love.
Appreciate any feedback. Again, if you have any comic books you want us to read, something that maybe we're ignoring, and we just don't know about, send it our way. See if maybe we can look at it. Shout out to my brother. He's here too.
Hey!
Zachary!
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Night, y'all.
Have a good night.